Good morning and welcome to ITA TV's Breakfast Show. Hello, ITA. My name is Timileyin Osunde and I'll be your host for today's special edition, where we'll be delving into the fascinating world of soils, the fascinating world beneath our feet. A lot of us grew up playing with sand, building sand castles. But would you know that beyond, the things we did growing up, there's a world beneath our feet where we have nematodes, pests, all sorts of things. It's a world on its own, like planet Earth. And so we have with us today to celebrate the World Soils Day, which is a global event to raise awareness about soils. We have with us today one of ITA's experts, who is a soil scientist, and he'll be telling us about some of the things that ITA is doing to improve soil health and make the lives of farmers easy across the continent. Before we go into the topic of today, we'll go on a short break, and then we'll be back to talk about the fascinating world beneath our feet. Welcome back, and this is Hello ITA. My name is still Timileyin Osunde. Today, we'll be delving into the world of soils to celebrate the World Soils Day, which is celebrated across the world on the 5th of December. We have with us in the studio a renowned soil scientist and one of ITA's distinguished scientists. His name is Dr. Samuel Mesele. Welcome to Hello ITA.
Thank you, Timmy.
It's a pleasure to have you with us today, and I look forward to you talking about what you do as a soil scientist and to probably change my mindset so I would not think that soils is just for building castles. There's more to soils. What do you say?
Yeah, thank you very much, Timmy. And I'm very happy for this invitation and to be on this show. Yes, soil is very important, and indeed, it is the basis for human existence. We all came from the soil, and we are going to return to the soil. And while we are still alive, most of the nutrients we need to survive are actually embedded in the soil. So soil is a critical component of our lives.
Thank you very much. So you said we all came from the soil and we'll return to the soil. Okay, I think that's an adage that we all hear when we attend some functions that we don't want to talk about. So what do you think? This year's theme is caring for soils, measure, monitor, and manage. What would you say this means?
Okay, thank you, Timmy. The World Soil Day is a very important event that is being celebrated globally. As we are here seated all across the globe, people are celebrating the importance of soil, the World Soil Day. And when we talk about caring for soils, and we are looking at manage, and we are looking at measure, monitor, and manage. It actually illustrates or connotes the importance of creating awareness about soils and also the importance of accurate soil data and information for decision making. Because for agronomic decisions, we need to have data. So, and the decisions are strong as the quality of the data we have. So this year's theme, Caring for Soils, is more or less to actually illustrate how important it is to have accurate data and soil information so that we can make good decisions about food security and even addressing the issue of climate change.
Okay, so data, agronomic decisions, how is ITA doing this?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. IIT has been doing a lot of work in this space, in the area of measuring, monitoring, and managing soils. I think we even have a book that is published that actually look at 50 years of IIT research in soils. We have that book published, and so we have been doing a lot in the past and even till now on the issue of on how to measure and how to monitor, as well how to manage soils. Today, presently, we have a project that is called Soils for Africa, which has to do with developing soil information system for the continental Africa. And this project actually aims to gather a baseline data that will help us in the monitoring of soil quality of agricultural lands all across the whole of Africa. ISRIC, based in the Netherlands, is the overall coordinator of this project, while IITA is sitting in a very unique position about this project of doing the capacity building of all the field teams in Africa and conducting the field campaign. And the field campaign basically has to do with measure, because we are now measuring. We have thousands of teams across the whole of the continent now, and in 33 countries that are measuring soils, that are going to the field based on the protocols we have developed. We developed a standardized protocol for the whole of Africa that is applicable in Tunisia, in Egypt, in Senegal, in Nigeria, Ghana, down to DRC, Cameroon, to Kenya, to Zambia, to South Africa, Lesotho, even down to Madagascar. So we have a protocol that is very robust and applicable that we are using in measuring this soil properties. And by the time we are able to gather that, we are able to gather all this quality data. And we also have a system which we call the SDMT, Survey Data Management Tool, that is being used to manage this system. So by the time we have all this data gathered, we are able to have a baseline data using the same methodology, standard methodology that we can even use or replicated in the future. So, and the baseline data that we have been able to gather is going to be put in form of a soil information system. So by the time we have this, it will help us to monitor changes in soil quality or in soil properties in agricultural lands across Africa. And by so doing, by the time we monitor, then we'll be able to manage. But the first thing starts from measure. So anything you don't measure, that you cannot quantify, you cannot monitor whether it has changed or it has not changed. And for you to monitor, you still have to measure. So, and anything you don't also measure, that you don't monitor, it's difficult to manage. So that is what this topic is talking about.
Thank you very much. So you've talked a bit about Soils for Africa. We'll still come back to that because I'm finding all of this interesting. But in all that you've been doing, why do you think that maintaining soil health is essential for sustainable agriculture and food security?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said earlier, that soils is the basis of human existence. And soil is very critical because it contains a lot of essential nutrients. Out of the 18 essential nutrients that we have, 15 of them that the plants need for survival, and even humans, 15 of them came from the soil. They are derived from the soil. So meaning that the potassium, the calcium, the different micronutrients we also get from the food, iron and other, zinc, copper, they all came from the soil. So meaning that the moment the soil is degraded, the moment these nutrients are depleted, then soil health is affected. And there's this concept of one health, which is actually true, that is animal health, plant health, soil health, and human health are one. What does that mean? The moment soil health is affected, that soil health is degraded, that the soil is poor, you realize that the soil will not be able to produce enough biomass, enough nutrients. It will not be able to support plant growth. And the moment plant growth is not fully supported, you'll find out that plant health is affected because the plant will now be faced with a lot of disease and low yield and those kind of things. Those things will come in. And the moment plant health is affected, you realize that there will be little fodder, there will be little feed for the animal, and consequently also humans, because we feed on both the plant and the animal. So the moment the plant is not, we are not able to get enough from the crops, and you are also not getting enough, the animals are not getting enough from the crops, so then humans will definitely not get enough. So anything that affects soil health will affect plant health. It affects plant health, it will affect animal health. Once these are affected, automatically human health is affected. So it is a one ecosystem concept that all these things are interlinked. So that is why it is very important to manage soil health, because it's the basis of our production system.
Wow, that's a whole lot, and it's quite interesting. Thank you. The explanation you just did now is actually now making me to understand some of the things that I've been reading about in the past. Now, you've mentioned some of the things that you do under the Soils for Africa program or project. Now, can you tell us a bit more how this program is helping with the One Health concept that you've intricately analyzed or explained now?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. What we are doing in Soils for Africa is actually to develop a soil information system that will allow us to monitor the soil quality or the soil health of agricultural lands across Africa. Today, we do not have a one single system that can let us do this. We do acknowledge that in some countries, individual countries, e.g. Ethiopia, have started for some while now trying to develop a soil information system that will allow them to monitor the changes in soil over time and to be able to manage their soils effectively. But as a continent as a whole, we do not have this one established. And in some of the different areas, previous previous initiatives that have actually done a FIT campaign have actually not used a fully unified system that you can see that will allow the concept of fair data, which is making the data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. We do not have that. So now the idea is to see, okay, can we have a uniform methodology that will be robust, that will be simple, that people can use to assess soil quality across or soil health across the whole of Africa and fairly around the same time. So it will help us to have a baseline data, because before you monitor, you must have a baseline data from which you can then measure changes over time. So the idea of Soils for Africa is to see how do we get these unified methodologies, which today I'm happy to tell you that IIT led this component, and today we have that methodology. So we have the protocols, the SOPs, and they're in different languages. We have it in English, we have it in French, we have it in Arabic, and we also have it in Portuguese. So we have it. Now, we have now collected over 16,000 sampling points now. We have sampled over 16,000 points, which is around about almost over 25,000 samples now that we have gathered. And we are also using a similar or a unified methodology for all the analysis. So by the time we are able to do this, it makes the data comparable. And we can now measure, we can now monitor over time.
Wow, that's a whole lot. And how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, we have been doing this in the last 5 years. Almost 5 years. Almost 5 years now. So because we started in 2020, and this initiative is funded by the European Union.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Mesele. This is quite eye-opening and wholesome for me. You've heard part of what he has said, all of what he has said on the program. And honestly, if you're watching this after today, I think you need to pick up your pen and your jotter and write something. This is eye-opening for me. We'll come back after the short break to talk about some of the things that I feel are critical: climate change, still soil health, and how this is working together after the short break. Welcome back to Hello IITA, which is IIT's breakfast show. With me in the studio is Dr. Mesele, and he's been talking about soil systems, soil health, and even One Health, and how all of this is linked. Humans, animals, plants, all linked back to the soil, where he earlier said we come from. My name is still Timileyin Osunde, and we're celebrating the World Soils Day today at IITA. So, thank you, Dr. Mesele, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you.
You've talked about some of the things that Soils for Africa is doing, and I find it fascinating. I find it interesting. I find it very, maybe at the end of today, I might want to go back to school and become a soil scientist like you.
That would be nice.
Interesting. Growing up, we used to play with sand. And seriously, it was a thing for me. I would not stay inside the house. My mom would chase me. I would still go out and play with sand, you know. And I'm sure a lot of us did that growing up. I'm sure you did that growing up. Yeah. So, I mean, this is new. Now, in what ways climate change is a big thing? It's a major issue across the globe. How do you think that all of this climate change and climate change, how do you think this is affecting soil health? And what adaptive measures will you suggest as an expert in soil?
Okay. Thank you, Timmy. Yeah, climate change has effects, adverse effects on the soil health. And in one way, in which way I'll mention just three. One is on soil erosion.
Okay.
Soil erosion is a major factor today across the globe, and more particularly in Africa, where that is affecting soils. That is, which is actually the soil erosion is actually the washing away of the topsoil of the soil, the detachment and the transportation of the soils away. So meaning that then the soil erosion actually takes away the better part of the soil, which is actually the topsoil. And that is where you have most of the micronutrients that are beneficial to plants, where you have most of the nutrients. So in how does climate change affect this? When there is a rainfall intensity, erosive, there's what we call erosive rains. That is rains that fall with high intensity. That when the rain is falling, it's as if your roof is about to break. So those kind of high intensity rains actually are very erosive and make the soil very erodible. So it removes the topsoil, using the topsoil layer, which is actually the room for the plant root, and also taking away the nutrients. So when we have more erosive rains, then we have more loss of soil and nutrient. So that is a major factor. That is a major area in which climate change is affecting soil health. Another aspect is also what we call soil salinization. Okay. That is making the soil more saline. So, and what does that mean? The moment you have increase in temperature, if there's increase in temperature, you'll find out that the soil becomes drier, and all this, and the rate of evaporation becomes higher. So, and when all these things are high, you find out that water evaporates very rapidly from the soil and from the soil surface. And what you have left are the salts, the nutrients that have precipitated in form of salt now, are lying on the soil surface. So over time, when these get accumulated, also coupled with effect of irrigation at times, you'll find the soil becoming very saline. And by the time the soil is saline, crop growth cannot be affected. Crop growth is affected, and the productivity as well as the yield of the crop is affected. So, and the third aspect that we also have climate change affecting soil health is in the area of what you call nutrient depletion. Okay. Nutrient depletion. Because particularly in this area of the world where we are, where precipitation is high and temperature is high, humidity is high, you'll find out that the rate of organic matter decomposition is high. And the soil organic matter is like the lifeblood of the soil. It's like the blood inside our vein. Understand? The moment the blood is dry or is out, then that's the end of life. So the same happens to the soil too. So because of this high temperature, high rainfall, so you find out that the rate of evaporation is also high. You'll find out that the rate of mineralization of soil organic matter is high. and nutrient volatilization also becomes high. So as a result, when the rate of nutrient loss increases, so when the rate of nutrient loss increases through volatilization or through erosion or through mineralization of soil organic matter, you realize that the amount of nutrient that is left in the soil becomes very, very low and very minimal, making the soil to be very poor and of a poor health. So these are three major areas by which climate change can actually affect soil health. Now, looking at the second part of the question, that how then can we actually manage this kind of scenario? What are the adaptive measures? Over the years, a lot of research have been done, and today there are a number of adaptive measures we can actually recommend. And first, the first goes to soil conservation.
Okay.
We have to find means and ways of conserving the soil, because by the time we conserve the soil, we will be able to maintain the health of the soil. Okay. And what are these? And there are a number of measures that we can use. One of them is what we also call conservation tillage, which is more or less an example of this conservation tillage is no-till or minimized tillage or minimum tillage, whereby you cultivate the land, you only remove the weeds, but you also don't turn the soil over. So by the time you don't turn the soil over, the soil becomes aggregated, and the rate of it being erodible to even erosive rains becomes minimal. Another way we can do is through composting, by adding organic manure, organic matter to the soil. We also have a number of green manuring that we can use. Mulching, that is the practice of either organic or plastic, of using plant residues to cover the soil surface, so that you reduce the impact of rain. That is one. Two, you also help to protect, moisten the moisture and reduce the rate of evapotranspiration. And when the residue you have also put on the soil surface, by the time it decays, it adds nutrient, it adds organic matter to the soil, helping to enrich the soil. So there are a number of practices that we can actually employ.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mesele. Now that you've said all of this, in 2-3 minutes, less than, how can we raise awareness about all of these things, all of these recommendations that you've made, these adaptive measures? How can we raise awareness using platforms like this, social media, field trips, farmer field days, to raise awareness among farmers and the general public, because we all need to know some of these things. Really, how would you suggest, from your experience as a soil scientist on the field, the farmers and local communities, how can we increase awareness about some of these issues?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we can raise awareness because first, before people learn how to measure, monitor, manage, indeed, we need to raise awareness about the importance of soils. People need to know. And there are a number of ways we can do that. Of course, that is one of the things we are doing now. We are raising awareness by coming here today and explaining what soil health means and what does it mean to actually care for the soils. And again, we also need to find a way of doing what we call a community campaign or awareness campaign to our local farmers. They need to be properly educated. Some of them have some good traditional or indigenous knowledge about soil health, but this knowledge needs to be updated with modern practices. And one of the ways we can also do that and also help them to increase their productivity by taking care of soil health is to ensure that they are involved, or we tell them more about the concept of soil health. I mean, about the concept of soil testing. Maybe as time we have it in future, we can dive more into this area of soil testing. Because soil testing is very critical, it's very important. And through soil testing, the productivity and profitability of the farming business can actually be what can be improved. So it's about, and also training them, having field days whereby some of these conservation practices I've mentioned, they are actually demonstrated, where they're able to see it, they're able to partake in it, and it helps a lot. Yeah.
And that gives them a sense of ownership.
It gives them a sense of ownership when you build their capacity in that regard.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Like I said, I most likely would have to become a soil scientist after this, because I was writing a lot. I was writing soil erosive rains, nutrient depletion, salinization of soil. It's a whole lot. I will come for classes, Dr. Mesele. I can assure you of that. That's going to be part of my 2025 resolution. It's been a most interesting morning in the studio on this program, special edition of Hello IITA, where we're celebrating the World Soils Day at IITA with Dr. Samuel Mesele, one of IITA's renowned scientists. He's a soil scientist, and he told me that he started getting the interest into the world of soils in 2007.
Yeah.
And I find that quite fascinating. It's been a most interesting morning. And I really want to thank you, sir, for honoring our invitation and coming here to tell Africa about what IITA is doing in improving soil health and helping farmers to improve their livelihoods and their productivity, thereby contributing to food security on the continent. It's still Aloha ITA, and my name is still Timileyin Osunde. And that will be all for today on this program. Hoping that you will join us same time, same platform. Thank you very much.